everybody? What's going on? Hello, hello, hello. Good afternoon. Welcome to drboystv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. Today, I get an opportunity to speak with a brother that everybody needs to know about. Many of you have heard about him. Some of you have not. Everybody needs to hear about him now. His name is King Randall, and King Randall is a founder of the X School for Boys, and he also has a great story to tell you. And we're going to get started on this. So do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, get comfortable, buckle up your seatbelt. We're going to get started on drboystv.com right now.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm, great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones who late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to co-sign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boys TV. Here we are.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to drboystv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. Everybody who comes in here, just know that we are Black first. We put the Black community first. If you believe that Black people are number one and that our community matters more than anything anybody else, put a hashtag B1. Hashtag B1 is the calling card as we get started. Put your B1s in the chat and also hit the thumbs up button as we get started. So this brother today that I have the honor of speaking with is 21 years old. And, when you get to my stage, that's almost like a baby's age, but he's not a baby. He's a grown-ass man. His name is King Randall. And King Randall, I want to say welcome, brother. How you doing today, man?
I'm doing excellent, sir. How are you?
Doing very well, man. I'm glad to have you, man. I didn't even know about you a week ago, and but I feel like what I found out this week about you, man, was something that's going to change your life, a lot of people's lives, change my life. I was really excited and inspired by the work that you're doing. So let's just begin at the beginning. I said that your school is called the X School for Boys. Did I say that wrong? What's the exact right way to say when people say, well, what's the name of your school and stuff like that?
Absolutely. The organization name is the X for Boys, and the school will be called the Life Preparatory School for Boys.
Oh, the Life Preparatory School for Boys. Okay, I should.
Yes, sir.
That. I'm gonna write that down right now. All right, and so let's just start at the beginning, man. You are 21 years old, and first of all, everybody's watching. Like, give a digital round of applause for his brother for doing such great work at 21. I think that everybody's impressed with that. And you live in Albany, Georgia, and you decided to start a school, and that's been a big conversation in the Black community for a lot of years because you got a lot of people starting schools, some more successful than others. Tell us about that, and how did you even get to the point that you're at right now?
Absolutely. Well, I started this organization 2 years ago when I was 19 years old. And the reason I started this organization was because where I live here in Albany, Georgia, crime rate's very high amongst children, well, young men ages 17 to 25. The murder rate, at one point, we had the highest murder rate in the country per capita. We're a 77% Black city. And this is also a city that Dr. King failed in. He came here, went to jail, and said he'd never go back. And we have a lot of issues here in our city, and I definitely wanted to tackle those issues while I was here. And I'd go to different community meetings and things like that, and nobody really wanted to get on the ground and do like the work that I wanted to do. So I decided that I was going to start a program called the X for Boys. We started doing field trips. I started taking young men on field trips, and we went to Atlanta, Montgomery. I mean, we've been to like any Black History museum in the Southeast you could think of. So we went to all the museums. Then I started doing workshops, teaching young men how to change oil, how to change brakes. We did automotive repair, home improvement. I taught them how to change ceiling fans, toilets, flooring, sheetrock, you name it. So I started doing these things, and during the summertime of 2019, I lost my job. And at that time, I think that was God trying to let me know you need to go ahead and do what it is that you're supposed to be doing. So I started a summer camp during that summer. Now, mind you, I was broke. I ain't had no money. I had my own house and stuff, but I was broke at the time. And but I was just like, I'm gonna make a flyer and I'm gonna tell parents, what I'm offering for the summer. And if they believe in me, then they'll bring their children. So I told them everything that I'd be offering. And every day I'm so grateful to those parents who believed in this 19-year-old kid to drop their child off every day at my house from 8 to 5 to learn all of these things. So we did reading. I taught them how to change toilets, changing ceiling fans. I mean, we did some of everything. I taught them how to garden. We grew our own food. We did field trips. These are things we did for that summertime. But while I was in that summer program, I realized a lot of our children couldn't read. And about maybe 12 out of the 20 children that I had couldn't read. And I had one kid that's in the 6th grade. He couldn't read at all. And that was an issue for me. And I'm just like, how are these children passing through school and they can't read? How are you expecting them to, get good grades and graduate and be something and be somebody, and they aren't even literate? This is an issue for me. So I started a book club, and I started teaching the children how to read in the book club. We started doing, life lessons and life skills in the book club. We had some men from around our community come and visit the book club. Then I started working with juvenile court. And I started taking children from the juvenile justice system, keeping them in my home. I actually have custody of 2 of those children now. And our program has a 0% recidivism rate. Every child that's come to my program from jail has never been back. And we don't have any rehabilitative programs for juveniles coming from jail here where I live in Albany, Georgia. So that's a problem for me. So fast forward to 2020, COVID happened. And so I had to kind of pause everything that happened, that was happening for our program. I had to pause book club, pause our bowling team, pause everything we had going on because I didn't know what's going on. But when the summertime was rolling around, parents were just like, can you please do something for the kids? And I was just like, well, if I do something for the boys, they got to come live with me. And they was like, okay. So I went and bought some bunk beds. I put them in my living room and we made it happen. And at the time, I didn't have the most fun. So we was eating hot and ready pizzas, beanies and weenies, noodles and sandwiches, but I was still teaching. I was still teaching them during that summer, and we built so many bonds. I mean, we done got caught on the side of the road with no spare tire and all that. I mean, we had so many stories, but I was just dedicated to, teaching them, and they loved me to death, for everything that I taught. So during that summertime, I posted one tweet on Twitter because people were telling me I should start posting what we were doing because I wasn't posting like that. And I posted us doing some sheetrock at an apartment complex, and it went viral on Twitter. And so many people, reached out to me and, were seeing what we were doing. This was back last summer, and we maybe raised about $10,000 in a week for what we were trying to do. And I had been telling the boys for the past 2 years, I was like, look, I'm gonna open you guys a school. We're gonna open us up a school, and we're gonna get you guys taught the things you need to know, etc. I was like, I don't know how we're gonna do it, but we're gonna have some big boy faith and we gonna make it happen. So that happened. We got invited to the White House. We got chastised a little bit for that because Donald Trump invited us, of course, but he didn't post no pictures with us, didn't try to use us as no pawns or anything, but people were upset about that. But I was telling them, I'm like, these kids who never been anywhere, who never been on any trips, never been on a plane, never really been outside of our city, come from jail, have these records and stuff. And for them to get invited to the White House for the work that they're doing, that's a huge honor, regardless of who's there. So if it was Joe Biden, nobody wouldn't be mad. So why is it an issue, And I don't believe none of the presidents care about anybody. So, that's where I stood with that. So we got invited to the White House, and I mean, just the support has become overwhelming for us. And our support base is so diverse. Like I'm talking about, we have white conservatives all the way down to people in the Nation of Islam. I mean, the Hebrew Israelites to super white Trump supporters, whatever. People support what we're trying to do because the message is universal for doing for self. And that's what I teach my boys. We teach them how to be men. We're teaching them how to protect their women and children. These are the things that I believe, are important for our boys, and they're not learning anymore. And so many people ask, how are you able to change so many kids? Like the parents are just like, how are you able to affect them, so well? And how are you able to, have them come home and not talk back, etc. But when I did some time in the military, and then also I'm consistent with my discipline. I don't let up. They all get in trouble together. They sleep together. They eat together. They do everything together. And I do that to create a brotherhood for them because we have this individualism in our community where we never want to work with each other. So I always let them get in trouble together. Even if, one of them's talking back, I make everybody get in trouble. Well, you already know you should have told your brother not to be talking back. He wasn't supposed to be eating after a certain time at night, but y'all let him do it anyway. So everybody go outside. Everybody about to get the high knees and 6 inches. Everybody about to get it. Because I always tell them, if one of y'all got weed in the car, everybody got weed in the car. So I'm just like, yeah. So I make sure everybody get in trouble. But it's just been a beautiful journey, man. And yesterday, you kind of sparked it off. I went on Mr. Roland Martin show, and I was a big fan of his, but he started attacking me on Twitter for absolutely no reason. I had no clue why he was attacking me, but he had tagged me and a friend of mine called me a Republican. And I was like, I'm not a Republican. And he was talking about voter suppression. And I was just like, that's not my fight. I told him that on Twitter, but he was like, well, y'all come on the show. But my friend couldn't come on the show because he's Byron Donald's press secretary. And he couldn't come on the show. So I went, and I was just like, well, I'm gonna just get on there and talk about my program and tell him what I am fighting for. And he was like, well, what is your fight and all that? Well, I was like, well, this is what I'm doing. And this is what I believe in. So how are you going to tell me that not, relying on government is not going to work when I'm doing it, and we're doing it, so I tried to keep it civil. I kept it respectful. And, I did invite him to come speak to my children afterwards, but the slick stuff he was saying on Twitter and the little backhanded stuff he was saying afterwards, and his little panel got on there and said their little stuff about me. I kind of was just like, I'm not even finna do this with you, man. I tried to keep it respectful, regardless of him calling me names on Twitter and stuff. I just let him have it. But then you shared a video yesterday on YouTube, and you kind of did your little podcast, and it kind of made a lot of rounds. And right now my social media is going bananas. I got like 16,000 followers on Instagram in a night, and like so many people are like reaching out all because of the video you did. So I definitely appreciate you. But yes, the support's been overwhelming. And we went building shopping. I went and asked our school system, did they have any old buildings that they weren't using anymore? And they were like, well, we got 3 buildings up for demolition. And I went and toured one of them, and it's on the side of town where our children need us the most. Well, it's where the most children I serve. And the children actually need us over there. And I went and toured it, and the building's in great condition. I was just like, why are y'all tearing this down? But it's 36,000 square feet, 25 classrooms. I made an offer, and boom, we made it happen. And then I went and bought a school bus right after that, so I just, again, big boy faith and believing in what we want to do. And I just want to show young black men, you can go do whatever it is that you want to do. And if somebody's holding you down, it's because you're allowing them to. You got to play with the cards you got dealt and keep it moving. But that's kind of an idea of where we are and who I am.
Wow. Everybody who's watching, in case you don't know, I'm speaking with King Randall, and King Randall is the founder of the school is going to be called I can't read them all right. The Life Preparatory School for Boys, right? Did I get it right?
Yes, sir. You got it right.
He's got it in Albany, Georgia, and as y'all can tell, y'all can see. Give me a yes or no in the chat if you can see why I'm impressed with him. You don't see a lot of 21-year-olds that are able to lay it down like that. And when I saw it, I was immediately sparked to say, okay, what can I do to help? And so I want to ask everybody to do a couple things. One, because we're building Black media, if you could hit the thumbs up button and make sure you subscribe to whatever channel you're on, that helps us to grow the platform. But then 2, the URL for his school to make a donation is right there on the screen, the xforboys.org, right? Did I get that right, brother?
Yes, sir. That's perfect. The
xforboys.org. And I just went to the link right before the interview. I went to the link. I gave 3,000. I'm gonna give more. That's just the beginning. I want to be in this with you for the long haul. I just want to talk about how great your work is, but I want to actually put my money where my mouth is. And I hope everybody, whatever you can afford to do to support this, I hope that you'll do this because this is what we need. Do for self. And maybe it's my bias, but I just, I was raised by a father who was in the military. And one of the things, and I have a lot of people, shout yourselves out, by the way, if you did serve in the military, thank you for your service.
Semper Fi, go Marines.
There you go. Yeah, because I love my military people that are part of this crew, because those are part of the group that's going to get us out of this mess that we in. The men and women that understand strategy, that understand courage, right? They understand commitment and dedication, sacrifice, discipline. All those are all the things that you're going to need to be successful. And so, when you and this is not about trying to get here and just sit here and bash away at Roland, but unfortunately, there is a segment of our community that's probably bigger than our segment. Where you've got ideologies that are built on fear, living off of fear. Like, oh my God, if we don't go vote for this person, we all gonna die. Y'all, pass the fried chicken. Built on a lack of discipline, right? Give me all the unhealthy food and the drugs and the liquor and all that, so I can die early and then complain about how hard it is to be Black. Or I'm not going to save and invest my money, and then I'm going to end up broke, and then I'm going to talk about it. The reason I'm broke is because I'm Black. No, you're broke because you didn't do what you needed to do, right? Right. White man ain't treat me right. He won't give me a job. And here you are you're a young black man, and you mentioned something very early when you were talking. You said you got fired from your job. And I know a lot of young brothers. Tell me if y'all agree with this in the chat. I know a lot of brothers who lost their job and got knocked down to the floor and just stayed on the floor. And then people say, "Oh, well, I know why he's on the floor, because the white man won't give him no job, and they won't." No, you don't stay on the floor. Damn it, you get up.
Come on, Doc.
And losing your job sounds to me, I don't know about you, any other black people here who ever had the wonderful blessing of losing your job. I'm gonna raise both hands because I done lost quite a few jobs, but losing your job can be the best blessing in the world when you black, because it forces you to learn how to be free. It forces you to learn how to take your game to the next level. So let's talk about that, man. Let's talk about, because we got a couple things. I mean, you covered a lot of bases there. I'm gonna try to do one at a time. So losing your job, let's talk about that. So you lost your job. Tell me about that experience. What was the job, and what were the emotions you had, and just sort of what that process was like for you at that time and beyond.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I drove a forklift while I was in the Marines, so I was certified forklift driver. I was a reservist, and I switched jobs. I had just left Miller Core Brewery, and I went to another job that was paying a little bit more. But the schedule was it was not graveyard shift. And I tried to make it work. I was still working with my kids, and I was like, well, maybe I could do the graveyard shift and then, maybe muster up a little energy to work with the kids. But it destroyed my body. Like, I was up all night, and I slept all day long. Like, I slept all day, but I was still sleepy when I got to work, even with sleeping all day. So I got to work one day, and I went to the bathroom and I fell asleep. And they said they tried to wake me up or whatever, but that's when I got fired. And I was just like, well, it is what it is. I always try to look at the glass half full. That's how I've always been. I always look at the glass half full. So I lost my job. And at that time I was stuck. And I had these kids I had to take care of that was living with me. So I was like, I'm finna find out how to do something. So I got on YouTube. I learned how to cut some hair, and I got so good at it. I started cutting hair all over the city. I was just traveling barber. Then I got on YouTube and learned how to fix some more cars, like start doing some more stuff. So I was the neighborhood car fixer. I was neighborhood mechanic. I was going around changing people's starters, alternators, radiators, water pumps, everything. Me and my little brother, he's 15. I go pick him up from his mama house, and we just go and do everything we learned. And I was like, well, shoot, I'm like, we can paint people rooms, we can paint a house. So I got on YouTube. Both of us watched the YouTube video on how to paint a house. we went and rented some painting equipment from our local little company that rent out professional products, and we made it happen. We started painting people's houses, and they looked good too. We did real good jobs. Me and him, we took us maybe about 4 or 5 days to paint a house, make us our little $900 to $1,000, and we kept it moving. That wasn't just enough to pay the bills, just enough to keep the lights on, and we made it happen. But my little brother has watched me grow, so much, because I came back into his life at a time where, he didn't have me for a long time. We have the same dad, but different moms. And so like he had become like really fat, and he was, he's already tall, but he was tall and fat, and he, touching little girls on the booty at school. His grades was like 40s and 50s. And so I came back into his life, and I have shaped him into like this upstanding gentleman. He's like 6'3", but he's tall and muscular, and he's very articulate, got the best grades at school, best trombone player at school. Like, he's a really good kid. And so he's watched me, grow this. And I think, I go through so much, at such a young age, because I'm able to start teaching these lessons early. And I'm glad my little brother was able to watch me do that. But man, losing my job, it was a good thing. And I always knew what I was doing was going to be something beautiful, because I was just like, somebody's going to see what we're doing one day. I don't see anybody else, really out here just doing it like we are, because, we have like football programs and basketball programs, etc. But these guys, they're trying to, get access to the single moms and stuff like that. And I'm just like, dudes, like, we really got to get down and dirty with our kids, man. We got to get out here and be consistent, because I also turn down people who want me to come talk to their kids. They just want me to come talk to them. I'm just like, I don't want to come talk to them, because I don't want to be that person that jump in and out of their life. I want to be there consistently. I'm like, man, if I can't talk to your kid or be with him, constantly, or you can't bring him consistently, I don't want to interact with him, because I'm going to be one of those people that jump in and out of their lives. And I don't want that to happen. Consistency is the main thing with helping our children. And that's another reason I'm able to just help them so much. But And man, having those kids see me lose my job and still make it happen, them boys will tell you, man, Mr. King do everything he say he gonna do. They'll tell you that all the time. Whatever Mr. King say gonna happen, gonna happen. What's crazy is when we went to the White House, I have my boys make a list of stuff that they want to do when they first come to me. I don't care what it is. If they want to go to the moon, we'll figure it out. So I have them write me a list of stuff that they want to do. One of my boys wrote on his list right when he got there. In that September, he said he want to go to the White House. I said, listen, I don't know how it's gonna happen, but we're gonna make it happen. But lo and behold, here come an invitation. You know, so I'm just like, that's how we make it happen. You just gotta believe to have that big boy faith. We believe in this so much. So it's so important. That's even with losing my job, big boy faith. You just gotta believe. I just believed in myself. I had a lot of hard times, you know, lights cut off a few times. Got to call mama and be like, hey, mom, I need you to help me turn these lights on. Help me feed these kids. I'm in here whipping up some beanies and weenies, making some eggs or whatever, but we making it happen, you know? So,
yeah. Well, you know, when you talk about big boy faith, I talk about that. I was talking, actually when Ice Cube was doing his whole political thing, just so you know, you're in an exclusive club now. Ice Cube also went on Roland show and got attacked. It's like, you know,
oh my God,
your job to attack every black man who's trying to do something independent. Like what's going on here?
I don't get it.
But one of the things that I liked about what Cube was doing is that, you know, he was stepping in and saying, I want to help find the solution wherever the solution is at. And you know, that means if I got to say something politically incorrect or align, you know, or work with people that black people ain't supposed to work with, or say things that people ain't used to hearing, or do things people aren't used to doing, I want to do that. Because we're tired of doing the same old stuff, that same old, you know, sit back and sing a Negro spiritual, hold hands, you know, we shall overcome. Like that. There's nothing wrong with that. Keep doing that if that's what y'all do, but that's not the solution. We know this, right?
That's not my fight. That's what I told them.
right. And the thing is that, you know, when you talk about big boy faith, the way I remember kind of expressing that sentiment when I was speaking to Cube about it was I said, what I like about your approach with this whole political thing is that you're not letting anybody bend you, fold you, or occupy you. You're basically saying because remember when Cube came out and was saying, look, we need to do things for black people, put black people first, reparations, all that. A lot of black people lined up to attack him and throw rocks at him. And then Cube put out a song, and in the song he had a verse that said, "Fuck your cancel culture." Because everybody's like, we're going to cancel you now. We're going to cancel. He basically said, you know, F your cancel culture. He said, you can't cancel a soldier.
Right.
That's an interesting statement, because what it's really kind of saying is that big boy faith, AKA masculine leadership, AKA the ability to manifest, means that you're going to manifest no matter what. You're really practicing Powernomics, because Powernomics, if you read Dr. Claude Anderson's book, in that first couple paragraphs, he says, power is the ability to pursue your agenda despite the opposition of others. It doesn't say that power is when you can pursue your agenda as long as the Democrats are in office, or power means you can pursue your agenda as long as the white man give you a job, right? Or you can agenda as long as everybody says it's okay. No, power means you step in with your big boy faith, with your big boy pants, and you say, look, I'm about to manifest. This is how it's about to go down, whether you like it or not. And if you think about that, right, that translates into a lot of things we identify with as men, like sports. If I'm gonna beat you, if I have a football team and you got a football team and I'm gonna win the game, I'm not gonna win the game with your permission, right? Exactly. I win the game because I must dominate whatever defense you play. You're going to play defense. I know that, right? I'm not going to get mad every time. You know, think about this. Think about how we talk about white supremacy. Well, you know, every time we build a business, the white people, they take it down. Every time I get a job, they fire me on the day, y'all. No. You don't say, well, every time we throw the ball, they pick it off. I mean, that ain't fair. They keep intercepting the ball.
You should have saw some of the comments. People were saying stuff. They was like, well, you know, I understand he building a school, but it ain't going to work because white people going to destroy it. I'm just like, y'all obviously believe the white man is God, then don't y'all? Y'all really do believe the white man's superior, because every time somebody black try to come do something, I'm like, you believe in white supremacy. I guess you really do. You believe the white man's superior. I don't got time for that nonsense. I'm just like, all right, well, you go handle that on your area. I'm gonna handle mine, and we're gonna do what we gotta do. Because I'm just like, every time something happened, they want to bring up Tulsa. I'm like, that's one incident. I'm like, we gotta go. We gotta move on from that. Okay, we get they destroyed businesses, blah blah blah. Okay, we got stuff we got to do now. I don't have time for keep bringing up old stuff. Like I get it, I understand it. We gotta respect it, but I'm just like, we got to move forward. We learn from those things and keep moving. We just see what did Tulsa not do. You know, they didn't have no military. They didn't have no police force. They didn't have their arms ready. So next time we going to have bombs for them. We're going to have guns for them and everything. Come and tear it down then, because I do firearms training with my boys too. All my boys are trained in firearms. And I'm just like, that's super important. These kids are 11 to 17. All of them know how to operate their weapons. You know, and I'm just like, this stuff is important because we don't teach that stuff in our community. And we so big on gun control, and I don't understand why. I'm just like, how do you say the system is racist, but then you only want the system to have guns? That makes no sense. I'm like, dude, why are you an advocate for gun control? Gun control is racist. You need weapons. I got 11 guns. I got a gun compartment everywhere. Like Kevin Hart said, somebody come in my house in the bathroom, gun compartment, in the dining room, gun compartment. I mean, I don't get it though. Like, I'm just like, you gotta have firearms. I'm like, we are prepared for nothing. And I got onto this guy when I was at Advanced Auto Parts the other day, and guy was like, I had on my Black Guns Matter shirt. I don't know if you know Maj Toure.
I love that brother too. I talk to him all the time. Go ahead.
I love him. So I had the Black Guns Matter shirt on. He was like, yeah, Black guns do matter because the white people get into it with us. We gonna kill them. I said, bruh, white folks will destroy us in the Civil War right now because we ain't ready for nothing. We gonna be out there twerking and everything. Half y'all don't even believe in having no guns. I said, y'all be out here shooting. Y'all be out here shooting, folks. It'd be 20 shell cases and 2 bullets hit the perpetrator. I said, I'll be god dog. I'm just like, y'all be shooting like this, ain't got no type of aim, nothing. I'm just like, these folks be out here shooting dimes and they up here shooting tops off bottles and everything as you think you finna go kill white people. I'm like, bro, we way behind, dog. I'm just like, y'all gotta chill with that. I miss so much I can talk about. I just be off subject.
I'm enjoying this. Everybody, I hope you're enjoying it too. I know you are. I'm looking at your comments. Just to remind you, everybody that just came in, I'm speaking with King Randall. King Randall is the founder of the Life Prosperity School for Boys. And I'm going to give you his donation site. His donation site is thexforboys.org. He's building this school. He's really building. He's already doing the work. I just made a donation, and I don't donate to everything. I donate based on what I believe is already being done to make this thing go. And so this is not a concept. His school is not a concept. He is doing what your ancestors did. He's doing what the former slaves did. Former slaves, when they wanted to build schools, like there's a school, Simmons College in Kentucky, where a group of former slaves said, we want to educate our own children. They didn't wait for some big government check because there wasn't none coming. They didn't wait for Superman. They didn't wait for white folks to come do it. They built the school themselves. They said, well, all we need is a building and a few books, and we can educate our kids. And what you did, which I really like, man, is I like the way you use YouTube and the internet. Like that's, you know, y'all know me. That's my background. I'm a college professor. So I know what universities can do. Universities have value in a certain context, but the university has been replaced by the internet. You can learn almost anything you want to learn on the internet. So tell me more about that. You said you learned to paint houses and all this other stuff on the internet. Tell me about that process so people can kind of understand that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was explaining that, I lost my job or whatever, but I didn't want to go work for nobody because I was trying to work with my kids. So I was like, what can me and my little brother go out here and do to make us some money and keep the bills paid and keep food in these kids' belly? So I got on YouTube and I just had the idea. Like I started working on cars, and every time somebody's car messes up, there is somebody else that has that same problem. So like, let's say somebody randomly messages me like, hey, I got a 2007 Mazda, my starter need change. I'll go on YouTube, 2007 Mazda starter change. And there's the video right there. Then I go and change their starter and make my little $200. Next, I needed my water pump change on a 2009 Toyota Camry. Go on YouTube, 2009 water pump change. Boom. All right, go change that, make my little $200. Like that's how that worked. And even with painting houses, like the first time I actually wanted to paint a house was I was actually painting like the insides of houses. And while I was at Home Depot, one of my old church members came and she was like, hey, do you paint houses too? And I was like, yeah, I paint houses. Yeah, I paint houses. And she was like, you do? I was like, yeah. All right, let me come by and look at it. So I went and came by and looked at it. I gave her a price. I ain't painted a house a day of my life. And I went and I got home. I went to my little brother and I was like, "Hey, we finna get on YouTube and learn how to paint a house real quick." So we got on YouTube and like we watched the video, but it was easy. I was like, "Oh, this ain't that bad." The bad part is just the taping. The taping is the most irritating part. If I had to hire some people just to tape, that would be great. But we taped the house up real good after a day. We spray painted the house, with the paint sprayer, because we have a place where we can rent like appliances and stuff. So I rented a paint sprayer from the place for $40, and we painted the whole house. I mean, it looked immaculate too, like a professional job. And we had so many people hitting us up after we took pictures of it. And we started painting other people's houses. Then I learned how to cut hair off of YouTube. I have a fade. I don't cut my own hair, but I cut all my boys' hair in my program. So I started practicing on their heads, and I got real good. I started cutting some real good hair. I got the good clippers, all that stuff, man. I started cutting real good because I go to my barber and asking for tips and all that stuff, and it was happening, So I just use the internet to my advantage, and I tell my boys all the time, I'm just like, bro, I don't want to hear y'all say y'all don't know how to do nothing, because y'all can get y'all behind on YouTube and go learn how to do it. If y'all can get on YouTube and learn how to play these games, and get on YouTube and learn what's coming out, and get on YouTube and learn all these new songs and what's going on with this and that, you can get your behind on YouTube and go learn how to go do what you need to do. So I just that's what I believe in. You got to use this stuff to your advantage. I don't know a lot of kids to say they don't know how to do nothing. Get your behind on YouTube and go learn how to do that math. So that's just why I stand with that.
Well, you think about it, right? People use YouTube a lot to learn other stuff, right? Like if there's a twerking challenge or something, people will go on TikTok and YouTube and learn how to do whatever the challenge is. They have the silhouette challenge, the booty challenge, this challenge, that challenge. Yep. So people use the internet to learn the stuff that they value. And so what you're talking about to me is you're talking about values, just saying, what are you using the internet for? Like how are you using it to add value to your life? And it sounds like you and your brother, and by the way, you're a great role model for your brother, by the way. I think that's wonderful what you're doing.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
You're using the web to make yourselves better and to learn. And here's the other interesting thing. A lot of people forget that there's a difference between going to school, being educated, and having knowledge. Now, I don't know how much you went to school. You can tell me about that in a second, but I know you have education because you got things that you know how to do that can add value. But more importantly, you have knowledge, which is not just the what you're doing, but why you're doing it. You have knowledge of Blackness. You have knowledge of your community. You have knowledge of family, mentorship, just all the things that I think that's the part that makes it special, right? Because you got a lot of Negroes that went to school. You got some Black people that are even educated, right? But the question is, how many of our people actually have knowledge? Meaning, like letting go of the white supremacy and saying, how can I really build for the Black community? So, tell me about that. I want to ask you, but just specifically, just so we can kind of dig into that. You didn't go to college or anything, right?
I did. While I was in high school, I actually graduated. I was one of the first 6 students in my city to graduate with a degree before I graduated high school. So I graduated culinary arts. I am a professional chef. I do know how to cook really well.
Nice.
Really good. So I've taught the boys a lot of workshops on cooking, but I don't cook as much as I used to because culinary school actually kind of drained me from wanting to cook because we did so much and the classes are so long and we all this catering, etc. But whenever it is time to cook, I'll whip something up very good. But nice. Yeah, that's what I graduated college in culinary arts. But most of my knowledge comes from reading. I do a lot of reading, and my grandma told me a quote when I was younger. She was like, "If you don't want somebody Black to know something, put it in the book." That's what they said. So I read all the time. I have like a little library of all these like mindset changing books. I read my first real book when I was in the 11th grade. It's called Why A Students Work for C Students by Robert Kiyosaki. That's the guy who wrote Rich Dad Poor Dad. That was my first book I ever read. Changed my life. And I started doing finances differently. I mean, it was all different. I mean, I started wearing suits to school every day. I had a suit and a briefcase every day at school. All of my teachers and classmates to tell you I wore a suit every day. I was going to different schools to speak at elementary schools, and it was so crazy. But that's my education. I went to culinary school at my local technical college, and I graduated there before I graduated high school with my associates in culinary.
Wow, man. Well, one thing I just want to say, I'll give you this. Again, we could call this advice, but take it with a grain of salt. It's just me throwing out my 2 cents. But one of the things I've noticed is that when you think about white supremacy, it's a system. It's like fighting the army in a big battle. and you can't fight an army with like one or two people, right? You can't.
Right.
Like black leadership has always failed, in my view, partly because we get into worshiping one person, one guy that's going to, save the whole world, and that doesn't work. I think you need an army. And what I like about what you're doing, and I encourage you to scale this, literally obsess yourself with ways to scale this. Because if we had 100,000 versions of you, like if you were able to put who you are on a piece of paper, you know what I mean? Like lay out a model, a framework, how to be King Randall, right? And then maybe, who knows, maybe that's something that could actually be sold, given away, whatever you want to do with that, right? And train, thousands and thousands of young people to adopt that. Then that allows us to really fight head to head with white supremacy. Because one thing the white man's real good at, and I want to actually talk about the political side of what you're doing, because this is not an anti-white conversation. This is a pro-black conversation. I want to make this clear. But one thing that the white supremacist is good at is he's very productive. He's very good at mass producing what he wants. For example, the reason we won World War II was not the Germans had better planes, the Germans had better tanks. The Germans had the first jet airplanes, the first rocket ships, all that. We just knew how to make more of them. So their planes would be better. But for every one plane they made, we made 10 or 20. For every one ship they made, we'd have 100. For every bullet they made, we'd make 1,000. And that allowed us to win because we were just productive. The country, America knows how to mass produce. So for the black man to compete in this complicated fight that we're in, we must learn how to mass produce what we want. Absolutely. Right? Systems. Understanding systems and development of broad systems. So I think that for yourself, man, my 2 cents on that, my suggestion is, and I can help you with this. I mean, I'm already in it, man. I sent the money over. I'm gonna send over some more. We talked on the phone. I want everybody to just know this because this is what I'm endorsing publicly. But that I think it could be a game changer in terms of allowing your impact to really last. Because the other problem you have, and let's spin into the politics, is that because you're out there and you're doing such a good job and you're such a great spokesperson, then that makes there's a saying in China that the fattest pig always gets slaughtered. So when you become the head, the alpha, the leader, then people say, okay, we want to kill this whole movement. Well, let's get that Negro right there. And with Malcolm, they assassinated him. Martin, they assassinated him. Yep. But some people, they may not assassinate you. They may just discredit you. Right? Like, oh, well, we found a girl who says that he did such and such, right? Ain't no proof, but he might have done it. You know what I mean?
Right. So that's how they assassinate. That's how they assassinate you now. Yep.
Yeah. So if you're able to mass produce what you're doing, where it's not just one of you, there's 100,000 of you. Well, they can't kill the goal. It's very hard for them to kill 100,000 of us, right? Yep. So let me ask you about the politics, man. So that interview with Roland, which I thought was just the weirdest bitch fest I've ever seen in my life. I don't even talk about Roland much on the show because I never brought our disagreements out publicly like that. But that was the point where I drew a line in the sand. I said, man, what are you doing, man? You're 50 years old. This kid's 21. Like what are you? I didn't understand it. Tell us about that. How did the interview come to be? How did you feel during the interview? Did anything surprise you or what? Tell us your thoughts on that.
Well, originally, Mr. Roland had started tagging me and stuff on Twitter. I call myself a black conservative, but he immediately equated that with Republican. I'm like, I'm not a Republican, dude. I'm like, hey, you got conservative Democrats. I'm just like, but I'm not either or. I'm like what Malcolm said, one party buying you with a smile, the other one buying you with a growl. Either way, you're still being bitten, So I'm just like, I'm not a part of any party. So I'm like, why do you keep tagging me and stuff, calling me a black Republican and stuff? And he originally shared one of my videos, and I was just like, we need to stop acting like, we can't get up and go do something for ourselves in our communities and stop begging, white people to do for us what we could do for ourselves. And he shared the video. He was like, well, true black. He was like, something is listening to this idiot. And I was like, what? I was like, what are you talking about? I'm like, how is this idiotic telling black people we could get up and go do something for ourselves in our community? But I was just like, well, Mr. Roland, I was a huge fan, and I kept it respectful. I never called him any names back or anything like that. But I always kept it respectful with him. But he started, going on this rant, and he kept tagging me and stuff. And I let that pass. A few months passed by, and he started tagging me and stuff again. And I'm just like, dude, like, why do you keep tagging me and stuff? I don't even fool with you like that. I don't tag you in nothing. I don't bother you. I don't even follow you. You know, somebody screenshotted and sent me what he was saying about the voter suppression stuff. And so I come in and I was like, well, I'm sure my friend could give you a better idea. I'm like, well, voting ain't what I talk about. That ain't even my area or whatever. And so my friend was like, he won't bring us on the show or whatever. He was like, well, bring y'all asses on. Get on the show then. I was like, all right. But I told you my friend couldn't go because he's the press secretary for Byron Donalds and his job won't let him do it. But I went and I was just like, I'm going to just basically tell him, what I'm about. And voting ain't it. That's not my, be all end all. I believe, if we're going to change things in our community, we're going to change them ourselves. And so that's where I stood with that. So during the interview, he was, kind of being super aggressive the whole time. And even when there was a moment where I thought it was going to kind of simmer down, he went back into some aggressive stuff. I'm just like, dude, like, why you keep trying to fight me? I'm trying to keep disrespectful. I'm not trying to, call you any names or anything. He never addressed whenever he called me a name. Like he was like, I didn't call you a Republican. I'm like, yes, you did. It's on Twitter. And then he ignored that. And then I said, you called me an idiot on one of my videos. He was like, no. What do you mean by do for self? And I'm just like, that's the video that went viral on Instagram. And I'm just like, dude, like, that's what you said, not me. I'm like, you bothering me. And then he want to get on in Twitter now and talking about, oh, he asked to be on the show. I'm like, I didn't ask to be on the show. My friend asked to be on the show. I just accepted the invitation, but now he's like, oh, he was baiting and switching, trying to jump the subject. I'm like, you just mad because I use your platform to tell people about what I was doing and you can't get mad, but my thing was he didn't say good job, congratulations. And that's what people are chastising him for, like all over social media. It's like, you could even say good job or something, that's where I stood with that. But again, I still tried to keep it nice. And at the end, I invited him to come speak to my kids, but listening to the little slick stuff he was saying at the end and the way his panel at the end was, trying to say little stuff about me and whatever. That just put a bad taste in my mouth. And the fact that he retweeted the school after people was like, why you won't share his work? And he shared it, was like, haha, I did share it. Now what? Not in no good spirit stuff, but he shared it because people was asking him to. So that's kind of where I stood with that. But I'm not giving him any more of my attention. I mean, he's made other tweets ever since the videos went viral because everybody's dogging him out all over social media for that. And I ain't responding to him. I'm just like, hey, it is what it is. Take this L and keep it moving.
There you go. And I first of all, on behalf of everybody over the age of 40, I want to apologize because as you can see, the majority of the community loves what you're doing. And doing for self, things like that. And I like the fact that you're able to do it without saying that that there's something wrong with what you're doing over there. Like, look, you can do whatever you want with the Democratic Party and all this other stuff. Yep. But over here, we educating Black kids, and anybody who has an issue with that agenda, they kind of need to stand down, right? Right. Because it's going to make you look bad, look suspect, look problematic. And so just kind of moving on beyond Roland, I can say to be a complete optimist about it. The great benefit is that who knows, perhaps without Roland speaking to you, and having that interview, a lot of people wouldn't even know about you, right? And
that's why I'm appreciative of even going on the show. That's why I went. I was just like, I believe, because at first a few of my advisors was like, no, don't go. He gonna do this, that, and the third. I knew what he was gonna do. I knew full-fledged what he was gonna do when I went on there. I was like, no, I'm gonna get on there, stand my ground on what I believe in. He got me tripped up a little bit, but I was like, I'm just gonna keep reiterating what I'm doing with my program, and somebody's gonna see what I'm doing. And lo and behold, here come Dr. Boyce in the middle of the night with an interview that sparked the whole conversation. So so many people got YouTube think pieces and everything right now. It's going nuts everywhere. But I've had NFL players reach out. I mean, Layla Ali, everybody's just like, yo, this is a movement. So I'm definitely appreciative of even just going on the show. That was a blessing, for just being there. So, it'll dissipate, whatever. I don't want it to be solely on Roland. I mean, also, I do want to address something while I'm here. I do wish for people to stop talking about Dr. Umar. That's kind of putting a bad taste in my mouth. Because a lot of people keep, and I made a post before, but people keep saying, oh, Dr. Umar need to pay attention, and Dr. Umar this and that. I'm like, that's an entirely different movement. I love Dr. Umar. He's one of the people that brought me into, the light or whatever. But I'm just like, like his movement is different. We have something, you know, we have some things in common. We both trying to open a school for boys, but I'm just like, we have different missions, and he's trying to do something other than I'm trying to do. So I wish for people to stop. Oh, well, Dr. Umar need the side eye, and Dr. Umar look at Dr. Umar. I'm just like, leave that alone. Like, stop being childish. You don't have to lift me up and tear Dr. Umar down or nothing like that. I love Dr. Umar. Somebody sent them one of my videos, and he said, you know, good job for what I was doing. You know, so I don't understand why people are doing that, and I wish we stop that craziness. Like, stop talking about him. You can lift up our program and lift up our school without saying, oh, well, Dr. Umar did this. We're not talking about that. If you want to lift up this program and our children, just lift up that, and we can still lift up Dr. Umar too. But if you don't have nothing nice to say, don't say it at all.
I love it. Well, you know, and I think that's an important point you make when we talk about that, what you just said, and what we were talking about earlier about scaling. You know, the Black community is not going to be saved by one school or three schools.
Absolutely.
We get 1,000 schools, right?
Yep.
So everybody, all hands on deck. You know, all hands, everybody out there that understands the importance of Black education, the fact that we control that, should all participate in this process. We got, you know, probably 100,000 Black educators and everything else, and so we all need to get together and develop systems that will allow us to solve our problems. So I love it, man. I think that what's interesting, what's really great and very impressive about the way you handled the Roland Martin interview was, you know, I don't know. You guys tell me in the chat if you agree on this about yourself, but
yeah, that's what I'm watching. I'm watching the chat, looking down.
Yeah. I'll tell you, man, at 21, I don't know if I could have been as graceful as you. You know, I might have been cussing by the end of that. You know what I mean? And I thought that was a part. I mean, it doesn't even matter to me. Let's say it was a contest in the debate. It doesn't matter to me who won, because one guy is 50, the other one's 21, right? So it's not even, you know, so the fact that you handle it so well, I congratulate you on that.
I appreciate you.
You're clearly a genius, but not just a genius, but you are a man of action. And I also encourage you to keep learning, keep growing, and definitely that humility piece, I think, is really critical too, right? You know, confident humility, because the thing is, when you get that big spotlight on you, everybody tells you how great you are. It's easy to grow into an unhealthy Superman complex, right? And so I encourage you to keep that in mind as well. You know, the first thing about being an educator is you should be learning from everybody and everything, right? So with that said, though, man, congratulations, brother. And I want everybody to know the URL for his school where you can donate. The donation. We are also people of action. Everybody in here is B1. Everybody in here understands things like Black wealth, Black education. That's why you're here. The URL is on the screen, thexforboys.org, thexforboys.org. I just went over and made a donation. I'm going to make more donations. I'm going to talk about this school regularly. This is not just a one-time, you know, hit and quit type of situation. This is something that has to be ongoing. So I hope that if you are as impressed with this brother King Randall as I am, that you will go to that URL and support in any way that you can. Because this can be something very, very special for our community. So I want to say thank you, brother. Any final words before we bounce out of here?
Well, I like to end every little interview I do with a quote from one of our local rappers. His name is Cantrell. And one of his songs, he says, obstacles are optical illusions. They're not really there. Jump high anyway. Jump high just in case. Nice.
All right. You said Cantrell. That's his name, the rapper?
Yes, sir. Okay. Cantrell.
All right. Well, shout out to Albany, Georgia. Albany's on the come up. I'll be visiting Albany in the near future. So
come on down. I got to see you.
I'm gonna definitely come down, man. I'm excited about what you're doing. And I did that video in the middle of the night because I saw that interview you did, and I told my fiance, I said, I got to talk about it now. This is bullshit. we need support. You know,
my God,
you running into battle, man. The supporter brothers doing good stuff, man. So
I appreciate it.
I was very excited, man. So God bless you, and thank you all, everybody, for watching. Please have a wonderful day. And hit the thumbs up button, share button, subscribe button on your way out. And also theblackbosschannel.com if you're interested in what smart Black men are doing. Jeff Lightsey Jr., Nathaniel Jordan, the Minister of Wealth, Dr. Maurice Green, a lot of brothers that have great things to say. Subscribe at theblackbosschannel.com. That's where we're building soldiers and building a better Black man in every single way. So I hope you'll support that and be a part of that. So take care, everybody. Please have a good day. And we are out. Peace.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones too late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to co-sign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boy's TV. Here we are.